Tonight, it felt like China collapsed under the weight of the sky. Not politically, not economically, but physically underwater, under mud, under the terrifying force of nature that no city, no matter how powerful, can completely control. And the most shocking part of it all is where it happened: Beijing, the capital of China, the heart of the nation,
And the elderly left
a city of over 20 million people, a city of history, power, and global influence, a city that never truly stops moving. And for one horrifying night, it felt like everything stopped. It began with rain, but not the kind people casually ignore. This rain sounded different, heavier, louder, relentless. Residents described the sound like thousands of drums beating against rooftops without pause. At first, people assumed it would pass like many summer storms do. But the rain didn't weaken. It intensified. Within hours, streets that had been dry only moments before were swallowing water faster than the drainage systems could handle. Underpasses filled like giant bowls. Cars began stalling in rising currents. Traffic slowed, then froze entirely as entire lanes disappeared beneath muddy water. Then the city started realizing something was very wrong. Water was rising too quickly. Emergency alerts began appearing on phones across Beijing. Authorities warned residents in low-lying areas to move to higher ground. Suburban districts near rivers and mountainous terrain faced the greatest danger as runoff poured down slopes toward the urban basin. But by then, the flood had already begun spreading. The Yongding River and surrounding waterways surged dangerously close to critical levels. Tributaries overflowed. Drainage tunnels struggled to keep up with the unimaginable volume of water pouring from the sky. Entire intersections became rivers of swirling debris, branches, trash, abandoned bicycles, and pieces of shattered infrastructure. And the worst part, most of this unfolded at night. Darkness turns every flood into something more frightening. You cannot judge the depth of water. You cannot see what lies beneath the surface. A simple step forward might be solid pavement or a hidden hole beneath rushing current. Parents lifted children into their arms and moved through the water slowly, feeling each step. Elderly residents were guided down stairwells by neighbors and volunteers. In some neighborhoods, electricity flickered as substations were threatened by floodwater, plunging entire streets into darkness broken only by flashing emergency lights. Imagine standing at your window in Beijing, one of the most powerful capitals on earth, and realizing the street below has become a river. Imagine hearing sirens echo through rain that refuses to stop. Imagine not knowing if the water will keep rising. The capital's vast transportation network began to falter under pressure. Sections of subway lines were suspended as tunnels faced flooding risk. Major highways were closed where water levels made driving impossible. Flights were delayed as roads leading to airports became partially submerged. For a moment, it felt like the city itself had been forced to pause. And when a city as massive and complex as Beijing pauses, the impact is enormous. Emergency crews work through the night, firefighters, medical teams, rescue units moving through flooded districts, checking buildings, and helping evacuate residents trapped by rising water. Rescue boats appeared in areas where only hours earlier people had been walking to restaurants or catching taxis home. In the mountainous outskirts of Beijing, the danger multiplied. Saturated soil increases the risk of landslides, sudden collapses of earth and rock that can bury roads and isolate communities. Authorities warned residents to remain alert for unusual sounds or ground movement as rain continued pounding the region. Meteorologists later explained that the storm was fueled by a powerful convergence of monsoonal moisture interacting with slow-moving atmospheric systems trapped over northern China. When warm, moisture-laden air collides and stalls, rainfall can intensify dramatically. Under modern climate conditions, the atmosphere holds more water vapor, meaning when it releases rain, it can fall with unprecedented intensity. This was not just heavy rain. It was historic rainfall testing the limits of one of the world's most developed capitals. And that's what made the images so shocking. Beijing, a city associated with order, planning, and monumental architecture, suddenly looked fragile. Water pouring down stairways into subway stations, cars stranded mid-street, neighborhoods surrounded by muddy currents reflecting the glow of emergency lights. It was a powerful reminder that no city, no matter how advanced, stands completely above nature. Floods don't care about skyscrapers, economies, or political importance. Water follows gravity. When too much falls too quickly, even the strongest systems can be overwhelmed. But amid the fear, something remarkable appeared: humanity. Neighbors knocking on doors to check on elderly residents. Volunteers helping move belongings upstairs. Rescue teams returning again and again into dangerous conditions to pull stranded residents to safety. In shelters, families shared food, blankets, and phone chargers with strangers. In moments when a city feels like it is collapsing, people often become the strongest support, holding everything together. The emotional toll, however, will last far beyond the storm. Floods leave scars-soaked homes, damaged businesses, disrupted lives. Recovery takes time, resources, and resilience. Even after the water recedes, cleanup can take weeks, rebuilding months, and emotional recovery even longer. For many watching around the world, seeing Beijing like this is deeply unsettling. Capitals are symbols of stability. Seeing one overwhelmed by extreme weather reminds us how vulnerable even the most powerful cities can be. My thoughts are with every family displaced tonight, every emergency worker risking their life in dangerous floodwaters, and every resident anxiously waiting for the rain to stop. If you want continued updates and in-depth coverage of extreme weather events around the world, subscribe to Weather Floods. Turn on notifications so you don't miss critical developments as situations unfold. Because sometimes disasters don't begin with explosions or headlines. Sometimes they begin with rain. Rain that simply doesn't stop. Stay informed. Stay prepared. Stay safe.